The Polokwane High Court says the case that was brought to it lacks agency and it has been struck off the roll. It says the matter can be enrolled on a normal roll to be ventilated further. But Lokwaba Mukabane clan, who are the descendants of the deceased, accuse Eskom of refusing to conduct DNA tests on the remains, but Eskom says the remains are too old for DNA tests as the people were buried centuries ago. They wanted the court to force Eskom to stop burying the remains without conducting DNA tests and to determine their relatives. They also accuse Eskom of mixing up the remains without separating them individually. Going forward, we intend to still fight. We cannot allow Eskom to bury our foreparents without following the correct procedures. We want to find a dignified way to bury our departed loved ones. We urge Eskom and the Thero Holdings to leave our people alone because the other people were paid money to allow these wrong processes made by Eskom. This is truly painful. We feel that the law as well as cultural practices were not applied. Yes, the remains date back, but without an expert analysis of the remains, there is no way for us to determine the relatives of the deceased because they mixed up the remains. Eskom stakeholder manager Tsulufele Morosile has disputed that Eskom had planned to bury the remains in one mass grave. She says the South African Heritage Resources Agency has now issued Eskom with a reburial permit, which is set for Sunday. The remains have been kept in these shipping containers for over 5 years. Traditional healer says the process to exhume the graves has compromised the souls of the deceased. As a spiritual clan, we demand that a DNA test be conducted. Back in the olden days, cultural practices for burial were different from today. Caskets were not used, and there is a unique way guided by our culture that was used. We want to know the truth, and we want the DNA test to be conducted to determine the relatives of the deceased. These community members say the move to put the remains of their loved ones in the shipping containers for over 5 years is un-African and inhumane. They also say that the process of exhumation was also flouted. I'm Koke Chumata, SABC News, Polokwane High Court.